Good morning, students. I hope you are fine and with good health. The school has decided to start online classes for 12 students for academic year. And I'm going to teach you computer applications. And your computer application book contains 18 chapters. The first chapter is Multimedia and Desktop Publishing. Before getting inside this topic, we can have an idea about what is media. Of course, we come across different types of media in our day-to-day life. And what's the purpose of a media? Media is used to communicate information to a group of people. What kind of medias we are coming across in our day-to-day life? Newspaper, radio, television, WhatsApp, Twitter. Newspaper, which contains text and images, which is used to communicate to a group of people. Radio is able to produce sound and is able to communicate to a group of people. Television is able to communicate to a group of people by showing videos. The other two things are called as your social media. So media is a way to communicate our information to a group of people. Now we'll move on to our lesson, multimedia and desktop publishing. The topics which are going to be covered today are introduction to multimedia, definition of multimedia, components of multimedia. When you look at the word multimedia, it is made up of two words where the word multi stands for many and media stands for plural form of medium. And they define multimedia like this. Multimedia is a computer-based presentation technique that incorporates text, graphics, sound, animation, and video elements. The combination of these elements grabs the viewer's attention and retains it. So, we can understand multimedia contains multi-sensory inputs that makes learning needs with different styles for different users. One more thing, multimedia allows user to combine and change data from various sources like image, text, graphics, video, and audio. All these things are put together under a single platform. And multimedia has brought some changes in computing, in entertainment industry, and education. And multimedia plays a vital role in terms of presenting information to the user. As I said you, multimedia is made up of two words, where word multi stands for many and media stands for plural form of medium. So we can understand it's an integration of different types of media like text, graphics, images, audio, animation, and video on a single medium. So we can come to a conclusion that multimedia, therefore, is an integration of many types of media like text, graphics, images, audio, animation, and video, etc. on a single medium, which is able to produce a single output of information. The next topic we are going to learn is components of multimedia. What makes multimedia effective? that we call as components. Number one, text. Number two, images. Number three, sound. Number four, video. Number five, animation. Among these five components, some components are called as dynamic elements and some components are called as static elements. Why they are called as dynamic? Elements which can change, we call that as dynamic elements. Elements which remain same, we can call that as static elements. The first component of multimedia is text. Text is called as the basic component of multimedia. As I said you, information must be communicated to other person. So one of the common way of communicating information to other person is by text. And we have two types of text, static text and hypertext. What is static text? When you look at this object on the screen, the words are given along with the image, which explains about the image. In static text, the words will either give information or support an image. That kind of images are called as static images. Hypertext, and you might have learned your HTML last year, and you might have learned your hypertext markup language. In that language, you might have come across anchor tag, a tag which is used for creating a link from one web page to another. Normally, when you view your websites, the websites consist of some hyperlinking words. That hyperlinking words are displayed in blue in color. So when you click on this hyperlinking words, it will hypernate to the nearest document. So hypertext is a system which consists of nodes, text, and links between different nodes. And one more thing, when you use your hypertext, they say we are able to access the text in non-sequential ways. The next component of multimedia is image. And they say image as one of the vital component of multimedia. And they divide images into two types. First type they call as raster image or bitmap image. The second type we call as vector image. First we will see what is raster image. Raster images can also be called as bitmap images. Bitmap is a simple matrix of tiny dots. Now look at the image which is given on the right side of your slide. I'm focusing on a particular point of this image and I'm expanding it. Once I expand it, I'm able to see some small tiny dots. The small tiny dots are called as pixels. That forms a raster or a bitmap image. So each pixel consists of two or more colors. So based on the data, it shows you how many bits are used to determine the number of colors. That is, the color depth will determine the image clarity. The second image is vector image. Of course, drawing elements such as lines, rectangles, circles, these are called as vector images. What is the advantage of a vector image? Vector image is relatively small amount of data is required to represent an image. Therefore, it occupies less memory. The next component of multimedia is animation. Of course, we can define animation in many ways, but to understand you, I will say the one thing. Animations are nothing but concepts or ideas. So, we can even say animations are based on drawings. As far as your book is concerned, they are defined animation like this. Animation is the process of displaying still images so quickly so that they can give you impression of continuous movement. I think in your childhood days, you might have come across cartoon in your televisions, and one of the famous cartoon is your Tom and Jerry, and we can take as the best example where we can see a continuous images moving on the screen using numerical transformations. The movement of that image along with its path is calculated for their defining coordinates. In animation, least frame rate of at least 16 frames per second gives the impression of smoothness, and for natural looking, at least 25 frames per second. Animation may be of two types: two-dimensional and three-dimensional. Two-dimensional, height and width of that image plays a role. So only we say in two-dimensional we have x-axis and y-axis. In three-dimensional animation we have height, width and thickness. So we have three axes here: x, y and z. Look at the screen here. There's a difference given between 2D animation and 3D animation. In 2D animation, the image looks very flat, whereas in 3D animation, the image looks very thick and bold. We have two types of animation: path animation, frame animation. What is path animation? If you are able to move an object on the screen that has a constant background, we call that animation as path animation. So we set a path for the object and we are able to move the object on that path. So we call that animation as path animation. Frame animation, where multiple objects are allowed to travel simultaneously on the background, where objects can also change, background can also change. Look at the bottom of your slide. I've given an example for your frame animation, where in each and every frame, there is a change in that image. So we call this as frame animation. The next component of multimedia is sound. And they define sound in such a way it's a meaningful speech in any language, because sound makes a person to understand what we speak. So we say sound is a meaningful speech in any language. And they say one of the most serious element in multimedia. And what does a sound provide? It provides pleasure of music, special effects, and so on. Sound volumes are measured in decibels. The amount of pressure of decibel increases, the sound increases. When you talk about sound, we have two types of sound. One they call as musical instrument digital identifier sound. Sounds which are being used in electronic instruments. And this sound can also be transferred to your computer to a digitized format. The other one is your digital audio. Of course, What is digital audio? It's a digitized sound. When you make your sound as digitized, we call as sampled. Of course, there's a technique name called sampling. What is sampling? Sampling is a technique which is used to convert analog sound wave to a digital sound wave. To convert this sampling process, we have a software example, SoundForge. A sample of sound is taken and stored every nth fraction of a second as a digital information in bits and bytes. The quality of this recording depends upon sampling. How you are increasing your sampling rates, the sound rate will be increased in digital audio. The next component of multimedia is video. Video is defined as display of recorded event or a scene. Of course, we might have used your cameras. Of course, every event is being recorded. That is, every event has been recorded and has been seen. That we call as video. And they say video is one of the powerful way to convey information in multimedia. And they categorized video into two types: analog video and digital video. What is analog video? Any non-computer media where your video is being saved, like a laser disc, film, or videotape, we call as analog video. Analog video is being divided into two more types. One is called composite and one is called component analog video. The second type of video is called digital video. Of course, it is not spelled out in your book, and you have just an idea. System-oriented videos which are stored on computer, we call as digital video. So we'll have a difference here. What is analog? It is represented as continuous signals. We call that as analog. More or less, it looks like a wave format. Digital video is represented as sequence of digital images. That's all for today's session. Let me have a quick recap what you have learned in this session. Number one, we have learned what is the definition of multimedia. We have learned what are the components of multimedia. We have learned what are two types of text. We have learned what are two types of images. We have learned what are two types of animation. We have learned what are two types of sound. We have learned what are two types of video. And I have given you an assignment which consists of a set of questions. Please try to prepare notes for these questions by seeing this video. Go through this video once or twice, then you can have your ideas very clear. Thank you for observing this session. We'll meet in the next session.